he wasn't really able to deliver in any way that helped the middle class in the United States, because his focus was on getting elected and stoking up anger and outrage, not actually on providing solutions.
Joe Arsenault with the front line with Joe and Joe. Once again, let us go into the breach. Look at the faces of these people who were forced to sit through one of Trudeau's town halls. Play the clip.
When Donald Trump got elected, he was able to get a huge amount of support based on resentment and anger that political parties and political systems in the United States had for too long ignored the middle class, and people were rightly angry and say, well, why should I continue to support a system that's not good for me? So here's someone promising to burn it down, or at least completely transform it. Let me vote for them because they're an outsider. Unfortunately, he wasn't really able to deliver in any way that helped the middle class in the United States, because his focus was on getting elected and stoking up anger and outrage, not actually on providing solutions. So what we need to get back to as a country is delivering those solutions and having conversations about, okay, Mr. Poilievre, you don't agree with our investment in dental care. Why? He hasn't ever said that, for example.
Trudeau should be charged with crimes against humanity by The Hague for forcing people to listen to his nonsense. These people are going to need counseling. Some of them have some real cheesy mustaches, too, to be truthful with you. I think I need counseling after watching it. What is Justin Trudeau talking about? Poverty is sexist? Play the clip.
Poverty is sexist. Our societies cannot succeed without the full participation and empowerment of women and girls.
What is this man talking about? What is he talking about? Poverty is sexist? Justin, poverty is what you are bringing upon your people by taxing them to death. What do you know about poverty? You were a rich kid and you're a rich guy, and now you're taxing your people into oblivion. Now, who's sexist? You. You're sexist. You don't even know what a woman is. You think you think men can breastfeed? Justin, time out. Time out. Justin Trudeau says, let us pray. Oh, wait. That E should be an A. Oh, maybe it should be an E in terms of pray. Get it? P-R-E-Y as opposed to P-R-A-Y. Pray as opposed to pray. Who's counting the money, Canada? Is it Freeland or Grandpa Munster? I think it's Freeland. Maybe it should be Uncle Fester. I hear Fester's pretty good with the spreadsheet. The MAID program continues to grow. The expansion of assisted suicide, effective March 2024, will allow people with mental illness like anorexia to choose death. It's going to keep getting bigger. It's the way the state gets rid of its problems. That is eugenics. That is what the Nazis did. And that is what's happening in Canada. US, keep an eye out for it. It's coming to a theater near you soon. A Good Samaritan tries to wake up supporters of Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau. Play the clip. Jagmeet Singh congratulates the ILWU Canada Union for reaching a tentative agreement. He even has one of their shirts on and took a photo op with all the guys. Put your comments in the chat. Do you think Jag is standing in solidarity with the union, or is he just giving it lip service? I don't know. I'm asking you. You tell me. Put your comments in the chat. Pierre Poilievre's going door to door. He's bringing some common sense, a little grassroots campaigning, ladies and gentlemen. Here you have him shaking hands with Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. He's even willing to shake hands with Sideshow Bob. This is the newest gem from Jagmeet. Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people deserve justice. The first part, I'm all on board with. Indigenous people, women, of course they deserve justice. All people deserve justice. Two-spirited people. What is a two-spirited person. What is that? I'll be honest with you. All these woke terms, I don't even know what the heck these people are talking about. I'll be honest with you. Two-spirited people. I think Jagmeet is dual-spirited because I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Western civilization is decaying. With that, so is reliance on the US dollar. What does that mean for the world? Play the clip.
Rabobank's Benjamin Picton is out with a new report warning the global economy is being, quote, reorganized before our eyes into two competing blocs centered on the U.S. and China, with more countries progressively lining up to join the China side. He cites an April speech by Christine Lagarde, the head of the European Central Bank, who warned that, quote, we are witnessing the fragmentation of the global economy driven by China, where she noted that historically, these kinds of divisions have led to higher inflation, shrinking economies, and falling trade. This echoes similar recent warnings from the IMF about, quote, structural decay, shrinking economies in future. This division is accelerating as the U.S. and China tit for tat over political disputes. Recently, China limited the export of raw materials for semiconductors to the U.S., while the U.S. is likely to retaliate with restrictions on providing cloud computing services, which are a critical element of AI. So what is driving countries to China? Larry Summers captured it recently, saying that an African diplomat told him that when China comes, they bring a checkbook. When the U.S. comes, they bring a lecture. So China's longstanding approach to third countries in Africa, Latin America, or Asia has been to encourage them to get rich so that they can buy Chinese exports, but otherwise not to interfere in their domestic policies. They indeed bring big checkbooks, building free airports or railroads in return for being able to buy and build natural resources like oil or copper. So China gets the raw materials. The home country gets free airports, plus it can actually monetize a resource that was sitting unused, and China gives them no grief if they are a dictatorship. In fact, China actually helps those countries remain stable by helping them suppress domestic dissent, such as the color revolution type university movements we saw in the Arab Spring. In essence, China is trying to make the whole world into a Singapore, politically stable, one-party autocracy that gets rich and buys Chinese stuff. In contrast, the U.S. uses foreign policy now as a tool for domestic activists, pushing everything from union policy to LGBT rights, including in places like Libya or Afghanistan, where they should know better, and now extending to longtime allies like Uganda or Japan also being pressured on LGBT. Last year, the U.S., of course, upped this game, crippling the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency by seizing Russia's central bank dollars to try and crash their banking system. That put the whole world on notice that we will crash you if we don't like you.
Couple points. China is an authoritative state. So is the U.S. and so is Canada. With that said, it's much more overt. They use a digital ID, a digital credit score. They control their people. You can't practice your religion in the open. They mean business. And as China gets stronger and as the world converts to their currency, the West is in trouble. With that said, maybe it'll bring people back to God. Sadly, people need many times a boot on their neck. When that happens, their eyes open. The West has gotten fat. The East has gotten strong. And as the East gets strong, the West is going to find itself in trouble. The way of life, which we are used to, is going to slowly disappear. And when it does, maybe God will reappear. Liberals are dismayed as Muslim-led cities ban pride flags. I'm talking specifically about Michigan, Hamtramck, Michigan. They elected a Muslim majority council, and the liberals were so happy. This is in 2015. But now that council is basically speaking out against the pride flags. Why? Because the Muslims take their faith seriously. And here's another thing. We are not against people who are homosexual, while as Catholics, I can't speak for the Muslims. And frankly, as individuals, they're not against them, particularly in this country, to persecute them. They believe the action is sinful. Christians believe that the same belief. So do Jews. It's biblical. It's biblical. Now, if you choose that lifestyle, that's your business. You're free. God does not impose, he proposes. Now, getting back to the Muslims, why is it that they are speaking up and the Catholics aren't? Where are our prelates? Where are the people in the pews? Now, I'm not talking about condemnation. What I am talking about is shepherding your people, protecting your people, particularly children. The Muslims are doing it, and they're not even animated by Christ. And I'm speaking specifically to Catholics. We have everything. We have the sacraments. Where are we on this issue? Once again, silent. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about persecution. I'm talking about raising your voice. I'm talking about protecting children. Children. Silence. The Muslims are stepping up. And it's interesting because they're a protected class. What do I mean by that? The liberals have embraced the Muslim faith and the people. You can't criticize Muslims. It's not politically correct, even when they're wrong. Now, the very people that are protected are turning on them. Why? Because they put their faith above all else. Where are the Christians? Where are the Catholics? Why aren't you protecting your kids? Your kids. The Muslims are doing it. It's time for us to stand shoulder to shoulder with them and all people of goodwill to protect children. This is not appropriate. And this is not a diatribe against people who are homosexual. You have a belief system. I don't prescribe to it, just as I have a belief system and you don't prescribe to it. Stay in your lane and I'll stay in mine, particularly when it comes to the children. Kudos to the Muslims in Michigan. The Catholics should be standing shoulder to shoulder with. A pig escapes its pen and wanders the streets of Canada. I say you put him on the ballot. What do you got to lose? To all my Canadian American friends, if you like what we do on the front line, I'm asking you to give $1. Just $1. Production costs money. We do it for you. We are self-funded, and $1 goes a long way. That's less than a cup of coffee. In Canada, a cup of coffee might cost $5, so you're getting off easy. Please, just give us $1, and we'll keep the content coming your way. God bless you, and remember, stay free.